Stay on the path. I used to think fall festivals were proof the world could be harmless. Hay bales, cinnamon, music that teaches your feet where to put themselves. I'm 26, dad of a 5-year-old who calls pumpkins moons, husband to Lena who believes every booth has a better cider if you just keep walking. My rules were boring on purpose. Meet points every hour, take a photo of the map, write my number on our kid's wristband, and never cut through the corn, even if the maze line is long. One extra superstition from my sister, who used to work these things. If the PA makes an announcement after closing, don't follow it. The speakers get lonely, she said. Let morning talk to them. By 6:40 p.m., the sky was the color of the inside of a pumpkin. We did the petting zoo, the tractor slide, the kettle corn. The wristband tent S label printer chirped when I brushed it and spit a strip with no logo, no price, just do not leave path. Along the edge in ghost gray numbers not matching the hour. Shh, Tina Mare. The kid running the tent said, printer's old, the spell people use when they're not paid enough to learn a better one. I tucked the strip in my pocket because paper feels like a promise. We were almost to the hayride when our son wriggled his hand out of mine, distracted by a scarecrow with a dog's head. 10 seconds of bad geometry and he was swallowed by a crowd of coats. Lena darted toward the food court. I walked the fence line like a penitent. Somewhere a speaker tried to find a Bluetooth it didn't deserve. The corn maze stood past the bandstand, rows of tall stalks cut into a shape that looks like a rabbit on the map, and like a problem up close. The LED board at the entrance flickered between wait time 20 min and twice. 3.13. Before it remembered its job, the festival PA clicked, breathed, and delivered a voice that wasn't the cheerful teen who said not to pick the corn. Slow, careful, like each word was lowered into place with 2 fingers. Don't leave the path. A teenager in a skeleton hoodie snorted. Spooky, he said, and stepped into the green. We split with plan and phones and that married telepathy you earn by losing each other in grocery stores. I took the right flank by the corn, calling my son's name until the syllables forgot they were his. Tap tap dops sounded from inside the rows. Measured, not wind. Corn rattles in chords. This was knuckles finding rhythm. When I parted a curtain of dry leaves, cool air breathed out on my wrist, as if the field had remembered it was a mouth. I didn't go in. I followed the outside perimeter, eyes on the white rope that says maze here, not maze there. A fog oval bloomed. On the window of my phone camera, on the min side of the glass, 5 ovals and a heel like a small palm, trying to learn the screen, and was slid 'em down an inch before it thinned. I wiped it on my sleeve and told myself I had breathed wrong. The wristband scanners at the maze gate beeped. A kid scanned in with a glow necklace. The reader hiccuped, flashed, 3 point, and returned to green. Someone behind me muttered something about storms. The PA tried the sentence again. Don't leave the path. The band on the stage stopped mid-song and cued back in on the same note they left like the whole field had agreed to breathe together. For 3 soft beats, the generators, the speaker hiss, and the crowd made one sound. Then it broke into separate lives again. Lena called from the other end of the fairway, breath tight. I think I heard him in the maze, she said. He said, Mommy. The radio on the staffer's belt insisted all maze teams were accounted for and still inside. If you go in, Lena said, high with it. I'm going to the stage to page him. We meet at the cider truck. We always said that and meant it. I stepped into the maze because love makes you stupid in noble shapes. Corn closed over the path like a throat remembering words. The dirt under my boots was packed by the boots of everyone who had laughed here for a month. The map at the entrance said, start, then a cartoon rabbit's ear, then exit. My son's favorite hoodie was rabbit ear blue. The first corner felt harmless. The second took its time explaining choices. 2 knuckles. Tapped the stalks to my left, patient, then to my right, answering itself. Buddy? I called. The corn to my left breathed. Not in wind, but in temperature. The way fridge air feels when you open what wasn't meant to be opened. My phone vibrated with a text from unknown. Do not cut through. The preview showed my own contact photo above it. which is a neat trick my phone doesn't have. I tried to stick to the maze rules like they were ropes course physics. Stay between the bales, follow the rope. The rope swiveled, and the path offered two tight options like shoulders. You don't want to brush. In the next junction, someone had tied white tape to a stalk as a breadcrumb. It looked new, too clean. A small sign taped to a post said, "Emergency exit," and pointed into a slit cut in the corn too narrow for noise. The slit smelled like coins and mildew. The PA breathed and said, "Don't go in." The sign flapped twice and agreed. I kept to the path. It kept pretending to be loyal. At a T-junction, my light caught a head shaped out of leaves and the dark beyond. No face, just the gi tilted of something listening, mouth parted like it had reached the first half of "Don't do." I blinked too long and it was stalks again, and a printed fun fact about how many ears a corn plant grows. The wristband around my son's wrist should have glowed blue in blacklight at the checkpoints. At the first blacklight arch, I saw 3 sets of prints like hurricane maps and a smear of glow at knee height. At the second arch, the scanner screen blinked. 313 and bus do not leave path. Printed itself on a receipt with no logo and offered it to me out of an empty slot. I took it because hands like tasks. I heard him then, not a name, a sound he makes when he finds me in the cereal aisle. A soft, involuntary, "Oh." "Stay where you are," I said to the path like it could carry a message. The corn knocked twice. Measured, a promise to answer back. The noise came again, to my left, then to my right, staying a path S width away, as if the maze wanted to practice following. At the center of the maze, the corn opens to a circle where teenagers look at their phones and pretend bravery. Tonight, it held no one. The speakers overhead clicked on with the festival voice that is too calm for emergencies. "Parents of a child wearing a blue hoodie, please proceed to the north exit." Lena's voice came over the top of it from the stage, calling our son, falling through microphones like a person downstairs, and I had to put my hand on the rope because I wanted to run in a direction I couldn't T-name. The north arrow on the arch hummed. The compass on my phone spun once like a coin and pointed down. The map glitched and put my blue dot R inside us, a cartoon rabbit SI. My phone vibrated with a verification code I hadn't requested. The PA, kinder now, said, "Leave it sealed." Which is not what mazes are, but is what doors can be if you use the right words. I kept walking like the path, and I had agreed to something. A small handprint he fogged on the whole inside of the next blacklight arch, 5 ovals, a heel, and S slid him down until it met the rope. I put my palm to the outside and felt cold meet me through plastic that doesn't T-hold temperature. "Stay with the rope," I said, a new law. The rope trembled, like a hand nodding. Another tap-tap landed in the stalks. The air gathered itself enough to pretend language. "Don't leave the path," it said, closer than speakers are allowed to be. I turned the corner and saw a glow headband where the dirt made its own decision. It blinked twice, double, like a phone on a table, and went still. I found him at the emergency exit. Slit where the sign pointed into the bad narrow. He stood with both hands on the white rope like a person who has learned rules and would like to keep them. His cheeks were salted with dust tears. The blue of his hoodie had found a darker blue. "I heard a whistle," he said, voice thin and useful at the same time. It was Mommy's. Lena doesn't whistle. The corn behind the slit whistled 2 notes, the right pitch, a beat late. We walked the rope back together. Tap, tap. Followed, 2 stalks behind, then 1 ahead. At a junction, a new emergency exit sign tried to move the world a foot to the left with authority it hadn't earned. Polite as echo. The PA said, patient as a bedtime story learned late. "Do not cut." My son squeezed my fingers like a metronome. The path opened into the fairway and made a choice for us. We stepped out into band noise and generator breath. Lena ran to us and made a sound like a person exhaling a month. Our son's wristband flashed under the scanner. The reader hesitated, showed 3:13, then paired, which is the only time I've liked software. At the cider truck, the barista handed me a paper cup with a jittered, "Do not leave path" thermal strip stuck to it as if it were a name. "Printer's weird," she said, smiling like this was a town with a quota of weird. The festival judge who sits in a golf cart near the Lost and Found told us closings happen in waves. "Sometimes the corn gets playful," he said. "We blame wind." On the way to the car, the field lights and the band and the generator hum aligned, for one long beat that felt like a train passing through your chest and not stopping. The cornrows answered with a tap, tap, measured and slow, polite as the first knock of a neighbor who knows it is late and forgot what they want. The PA breathed, searched the night for its own story, and found one sentence left. "Stay on the path." At 3:13, because some hours volunteer for the job, my phone buzzed with an unknown boss call that didn't ring. The voicemail transcript arrived blank, except for your "stay on the path." In the font my contacts app saves for my sister AS texts. At home a week later, sometime after we stopped smelling like hay, the bathroom mirror fogs. A thumb width higher than my breath now, and then a palma clears a tiny circle from the wrong side and slides. An inch before the glass remembers manners. The hallway in our building knocks twice, like someone who learned rhythm in a field. When it does, I walk my son to school on the sidewalk and not the cut-through. I don't follow whistles that get the pitch right a beat late. I don't step between rows of anything that grows in straight lines. I keep my hand on little fingers and say, in the steady voice the maze taught me, "We stay on the path." For a long, thin moment, the world answers back. 2 measured taps, learned and polite, and then lets us pass through ordinary daylight, with our paper cups empty and our rules intact. If you survived this far, leave your like to prove you are not afraid.